Hey there, comic book friends. I'm Travis.
And I'm not Ethan.
And this is
Monster Comic Reviews.
That's right. And that somewhat unenthusiastic voice next to me is the Disembodied Voice. She is my special guest this time, since how Ethan isn't available to be with us. She reads most all. Well, you pretty much read all the comics right now, right? Didn't used to. That changed with the DC 52, right? Once the DC 52 started, and they were all those number ones, is when you started reading all of the stuff, as opposed to picking
That's
through.
correct.
Yeah. So, she has an opinion, or we're going to force opinion out of her on the books for the last week of August. She's giving me the looks already. At any rate, okay, so first up, we're going to talk about Star Westar number 11. You want to start talking about the book, or do you want me to?
Go.
Okay. I continue to like Star Westar as a whole. This issue, I don't know. It seemed very sloppy. Moratat's got a definite style of how he does his work, but this one seemed more rushed and sloppy. It seemed to have less style and more. Let's just hurry up and get down the page. Is how it felt to me. Maybe I'm burning out on his style. I don't know. The backup story in this I didn't care for at all. Really?
I liked Tracy 13, as I said to you earlier, but I don't know. We'll see where it goes, but I was so excited by it that I had to ask you to remind me what it was, and I read it 2 days ago.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, obviously, Dr. Terrence 13 is not Tracy 13's dad. I mean, maybe some long lost duck or whatever. And interesting, he doesn't seem to be. I mean, is he magically inclined, or is he just? He
seems like he's a kind of a tech guy,
right? Steampunk.
Almost like someone who would want to disprove magic, not use magic.
Right. Whereas in the old DC universe, at least the actual Dr. 13 that I know of was a magic user, and yeah. Anyway, so I don't know what I think of that. That was whatever. I mean, I think it's great that they're continuing to introduce all these characters, and what they're going to do with them after they've introduced them all, because they don't really use them. The main story itself, I like the crime Bible. I always like the crime Bible, so that was cool to see that part in it.
It was nice to see it's nice. It's been fun seeing the beginnings of all of these people and the beginnings of Gotham.
Mm-hmm.
I liked that about the gates of Gotham. It's interesting watching, Mayor Cobblepot, showing all of those families.
Yeah. Yeah. But it wasn't okay. I mean, like I said, there's bits and pieces of it that I like. I like they brought back the rings again, and that whole society and that stuff from the beginning of the issues and whatnot. I don't know what I think of the Court of Owls in this.
I'm a little owled out, I think.
Yeah.
And I also wonder, I know that they had a lot of stuff to shove into the Night of the Owls that went on in the contemporary Bat books.
Right.
But knowing that the crime Bible is still out there, the followers are still out there, if they have had this lifelong rivalry, where were they in all of that? I mean, they had plenty of room to stick them in somewhere, and they didn't.
Except I don't know that this book shows that they had a lifelong rivalry, just that they are competing forces, sure. And what in this, if I remember correctly, it's been a little bit since I've read it, the Owls have decided that they need to is it the Owls decide they need to put the crime Bible down, or is the crime Bible saying, look, the Owls are...
I can't remember either. I think it's Owls taking out the crime Bible or wanting to.
Right.
I know they decided to pass judgment on Bennett at the same time that Tallulah and
Hex
are. I also have to say that I really enjoy Dr. Arkham. I never thought that I would enjoy reading about Dr. Arkham based on, the Arkhams that we've seen in contemporary comics. But I really like him. He's funny.
Yeah.
And I like his narration.
Yeah.
It amuses me. I also like Tallulah Black.
She's kind of interesting, isn't she? By the time you think, oh, she's this way, she puts out enough other stuff to make her more interesting.
Yeah, she's
not
got
just
more depth than we originally might have thought.
well, not she isn't just a female Hex, which is kind of how you first. Oh, she's all scarred up. Hex has got the scars. They both run and tumble. So you kind of think, oh man, they're just
she
the
ain't
same.
girly none.
Right. So yeah, I mean, I don't dislike the comic. I'm certainly going to continue to get it. I don't know. To me, it just felt like I wasn't impressed with the art on this one.
This was not the best one ever. But back when you asked me if I would recommend a New 52 book that I felt everybody wasn't reading that maybe they should read, Star Westar was what I said. And I really do think that it's a worthwhile book and it's fun. And I've never read Jonah Hex before now, so.
Right.
And I enjoy it.
Yeah. It's pretty good. So if you're going to rate this between 1 and 5?
I would give it a 3.
I'd give it a 3 also. Okay, next we're going to talk about Captain Marvel #1. Yay! Earth's Mightiest Hero. Do you want me to talk about it?
Yeah, go on.
Okay, so the first thing I want to say is they get this cover, right? The cover is nice and bright and 4-color type superhero, and then you open up the book and it's like completely the opposite of that. It's this kind of darker, muddier. I've got a lot of paint on the canvas, pushed it around to make the art. Not that I dislike it.
No, I like it. I think it's an interesting dichotomy.
Sure.
I don't know, comparative pair that this is the outside projection of the new Captain Marvel. And the book inside is her having to deal with a lot of very real life issues. I mean, a friend who is ill with cancer, another person, her hero, has recently died, and she's thinking back on that. She's trying to decide whether or not to actually go from Miss Marvel to Captain Marvel.
Right.
So she's got a lot of things going on, and I think that the art style reflects her inside, whereas the outside is how you might see her.
Sure.
I'm not sure what's up with her hair, though.
Yeah, everybody talks about that.
I don't have a problem with it. She says, I'm trying a thing.
Right.
But then when you see it on the inside, when she's just got it down and she's fixing coffee for her friend, it looks longer. So I don't know if it's like a banana cone.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I'm not quite sure how she's creating that style. But
right.
Beyond that, I don't mind the hair.
It has been a subject of conversation for a while now since the image first came out.
And I'm fine with the costume. I like it. And I love the cover, actually.
Yeah. I was a bit confused in the fight scene when she first covers the guy's face up that they're fighting, the Absorbing Man guy. She covers his face up and she's saying this is material from blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And I'm thinking, where'd she get the tablecloth from?
You didn't realize it was her
because it
waist sash because it's so much bigger.
But look big.
Yeah.
Okay, her hip and butt isn't that big.
No.
Okay.
I just assume that it's wrapped around and it's
well, sure. But I'm just saying, until she was putting it back on, I didn't know where she had gotten it from. I mean, I thought it was a banner or something, and then she's talking about how it's made out of super destructive material. I'm thinking, why would there be a banner at this museum? I mean, I know moon rocks are important and all, but
exhibit
right,
you weren't looking.
Right. So
I knew what it was, but it does seem rather large. So
does this satisfy as a #1 issue?
I think so. I don't really think that I have not read Miss Marvel. I have not read. I haven't read a lot of Marvel books, and yet I didn't feel the need for a huge origin. I feel like we found out what we needed to find out about
right.
it. And I assume that we'll learn more about her as we go on. I didn't need, she was born here, and then this happened, and then this happened. I didn't need the entire story, and that might have actually been boring. I feel like we got an insight into her character and who she is, and I assume that we'll find more out about her as the story goes on, which is how most books are. And
right.
So I think that makes
so you didn't read this, and by the time you're done reading the end of it, you didn't go, who cares?
No.
There wasn't enough action. It didn't end on some kind of cliffhanger of her
I didn't need
buying
that.
something or whatever.
I thought it was fine.
Okay. The reason I'm asking is there's been a lot of criticism about the fact is that there was a little bit of action at the very beginning, and then it was a whole bunch of who cares stuff.
But I don't see, maybe because I read a lot of novels, I don't see that as who cares. I see that as this is who this person is. This is what she's thinking about while she's trying to decide what she's going to do with her life.
Sure.
She's at a turning point. She's looking to the women who have helped shape her life as she's gone on. The only problem I had with the art is that both of her mentors have the same hair.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
But I think that it's perfectly fine first issue.
See, I thought that too, in the fact that I agree with you in the fact that it tells us a lot more about her thinking of why she's taking on the mantle, as opposed to just going, oh, okay, sure, I'll take it. You know, it was this other guy. Captain America says I should take it. Fine, I'll just take it. Everything's happy, and then going on with whatever the next big action thing is. I think that Kelly Sue is writing a story that's going to have more reasoning as to a justification for why she is and what she does, and we're going to see more of that thoughtful insight. It's not going to just be a straightforward 4-color punch the bad guy in the face.
And I appreciate that in a comic. I think sometimes comics and sometimes Marvel comics, please don't kill me, lack depth. You know, like, I love Avenging Spider-Man. It's fun, but there's not a lot of depth.
Right.
So it's nice to have some depth and some real storytelling in a comic book.
Mm-hmm.
Not that there aren't millions of comics that have that. There are really good comics out there. That's why I read them.
Sure.
But in a Marvel book, in a superhero book, a classic superhero book, it's nice to see that.
Yeah. Like I said, the only question is, was it flashy enough to make people come back for issue number 2? That's the curious question that's out there, because
too
they're
bad for them if they don't. Because I think it's good. I think that I always want to give something more than one try. So
sure.
That's me, and
sure.
I hope
Unless it's
everybody
awful.
isn't that
Unless
way.
it's awful.
Oh yeah, like.
Unless it's awful, one book. I don't know. You can make a judgment on a title based on one book.
No.
Unless you're just really not interested in it in the first place.
And then it's not for you.
Right. But definitely feels different than some of the other issues. Not issues, but other comics, that Marvel puts out, and well, in DC for that matter too. As far as it being number 1, and I wonder if it has the hooks it needs for people to be excited about it. I'm interested in it. I don't know that I'm excited about it. But I really enjoyed reading it. What would you give it?
I'd give it a 4.
Yeah.
Because I liked the art. I thought the storytelling was depthy enough to deserve a 4, and I care about the characters.
Mm-hmm.
And to do all that in the first issue, I think that's 4 worthy.
Okay. I give it a 3. I like it, but I do question whether or not it has those hooks. And what are those hooks? I don't know what they are, because different comic books hook me for different reasons.
Sure.
The art immediately didn't hook me. The story, I'm enjoying it, but it wasn't like there was something about it that made me go, oh crap, can't wait for that number 2 to come out.
Not everything can be saga, but
no.
you know.
That's true. That's probably a good thing.
And not everything can be the crazy, romp that Young Liars was.
No, well, yeah.
It didn't have that one thing for you that just made you open it up and go, okay, this is cool.
Sure.
And I understand that.
Yep. Okay, next we're going to talk about the Hypernaturals number 2 from Boom Studios. I'm actually really enjoying where this is still going, as being kind of a quasi sci-fi / superhero / a much better Legion of Superheroes book than Legion of Superheroes book has ever been that I've read. Last issue I talked about one of the tropes I was kind of like, I'm not looking forward to, is the guy who's no longer with the Hypernaturals. He's no longer with the whatever they call themselves. Hypernaturals, right?
Yes.
He's not part
46. 45.
No, 46 is the one that went down, right?
Right. So
he's 40. Whatever he is. I fully expect. They issue 2. They're gonna go track him down, and I'm thinking, oh great. They're going to talk to him, he's going to capitulate and go, yep, you're right, I got to go back. I got to go back and help out, because that's the hero thing to do. And he doesn't. It's like, hell no.
I know.
And hell no.
He couldn't if you
even
wanted
if I had wanted to, I can't, I don't got any powers. Which implies an interesting thing in the fact is they assumed that the first team got wiped out.
Is completely dead.
But supposedly he would get his powers back if the clone that's after
46.
him is gone. So that's interesting. Our new recruits, we're getting to see lots more of their character. The fact that the hard suit character, I can't remember what her name is, who wears the
shell suit,
wears
yeah.
the power suit and whatnot, that she's actually a flying endorsement. And they're like, well, we don't know that you represent our company very well, so we're gonna bench you until.
Yeah, and she's, screw you, I'm gonna fly away with your suit.
Right. So that's all.
I love the fact that they feel like she's too hot-headed, and she thinks she's just simply
She's too
curvy
hot.
and hot
She's too hot.
for their suit.
Yeah. She's too hot of an image for their suit. Well, hell, the suit doesn't hardly cover anything.
No, and it wouldn't have on whoever wore it.
Well, it doesn't matter who wore it.
Exactly.
If you like, yeah, here's a tough woman in a bikini with little chunks of armor to blast things. Yeah. Anyway, but I like all the characters. I like the setting. I love the advertisements that are in the
me
book.
too.
Those are fun. The billing of, hey, if you've got these powers, come to the Q Corps and.
I like that, and I like the whole, AI has taken over the world kind of thing, and I love the fact that they put all of those things into their speech instead of, oh my God, it's oh my quant.
Right.
I like all of that.
Yeah.
What in the queue, or all of those things, because that's what you would do. And then the Sublime character, the villain, they think that it is again.
Sure.
The fact that he believes in humans' right to do whatever they need to do without having.
Mm-hmm.
So is he really going to be a villain, or? He was pretty dang scary seeming in the first issue.
With the first issue, flashback, he killed a whole bunch of people.
But I don't know. I'm interested to see what's going on with that.
Sure. Well, I think that's definitely what's going to make it interesting. Is the fact is that obviously these people aren't living a bad life. It doesn't seem anyway. So far, we haven't been exposed to it. To the Q thing being some big malicious monstrous thing.
It's not some sort of.
It's just helping.
thing.
It's just helping maintain everything that's out there for them, it seems like, and whatnot. We haven't seen anybody who seems really repressed. I mean, there are people who have bad jobs, but there are bad jobs out there.
Has bad jobs.
Right.
In
every
society, there's going to be someone that does.
Sure. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, just because this one guy thinks that there should be free will, does that mean it's okay for him, if he's doing it, because he's supposed to be still in prison,
Right.
is it okay for him to dump everybody and everything on their heads just because he wants that? And
No,
he's
I
smart
didn't
enough to
say
try
it
and make it
was.
happen. Oh, I know, but that's
I'm interested in his.
right. That's what's
in
going to
his
make that's what's going to
intelligence
make
and
the
how
that's
that's
what's
gonna
going to make the interesting story. It'd be like if, let's presume, God's there and God actually physically had a hand in our existence. I mean, we could actually point to it and go, "There's God manipulating whatever, whatnot." And somebody went, "Well, I don't like that. There should be some free will," and they're actively going to basically take out God.
Yeah.
Because they didn't like it. I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
It is going to be interesting.
So I'm looking forward to the book.
I liked the woman that's going to that they are contacting to the Thinkwell contacts.
Oh yeah.
Knowing that she's
Oh.
not watching her child, she's watching her husband who's
because Sublime somehow obviously
fasting all the way down to baby level.
Yeah. Holy crap.
I know
Well,
that would be.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to her making contact. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens going forward. I find that I don't really. What's her name? The leader.
The really fast lady?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank on what her name is.
I liked her flashback to her first time working with
Sure.
45.
Sure.
And it's not that their history is boring, but it's like, I don't know, I feel you're talking about tropes.
Yeah, it definitely was. It's
The
definitely
female heroine who has had a relationship with the male hero and now has formed a new relationship with the disappeared new leader.
right.
It's like, really? The complicated relationship storyline.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of rooting for Clone 45. I don't know why, even though he is also a stereotype.
Yeah. I mean, there are some in there, but they aren't treated horrifically bad.
No. And like I said, I liked her.
Sure.
I liked her backstory. I'm not sure how I feel about her personally.
Yeah. And I'm not seeing her name right offhand,
But
so
I
I guess it
like
doesn't really matter.
Thinkwell.
Yeah, Thinkwell's cool.
I think he's really interesting.
Yeah.
And I liked the interview with
The
him.
interview with him in the back, yeah.
That was cool.
Yep. It's definitely a fun book. What would we rate this book?
I think I'm going to give it a 4.
Yeah. I like the art. You know, like I said, what little tropes are in there aren't so heavy-handed. They don't linchpin the book. So yeah, I think,
And they threw us a twist, so
yeah,
I appreciate that.
yep. So I would give it a 4 also. I don't know, strong 4, but definitely a 4.
Yeah, I was 3.5.
Yeah.
3.75.
Well, me and Ethan did it all the time. I mean, nothing's got just a square.
All right, fine. 3.75.
Yeah, there you go. That's what it is. Okay, next we're going to talk about I, Vampire number 11.
That was a fun book. Not a whole lot happened, but it was funny. It had lots of really funny lines in it from
Yep.
everyone.
Yep.
I'm starting to like Mary, and I really hated her at the beginning and just wanted her to die because I hate conflict. I
You
know.
read
Why am I
comic books?
reading comic? Why do I read anything?
You don't
Why
doubt.
do I watch television?
Oh, dear.
Why do I live with you?
Good point. Oh.
But no, I really enjoyed it, and it's the continuation what the Van Helsings chose to do to fight the vampires was pretty extreme.
Oh, yeah. Big time. And then the vampires. So we've got zombie. How does that go?
You've got zombie vampire hunters, and then you have vampire zombie vampire hunters,
or something like that. Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
they
crap.
have some funny lines, you know. When Mary sees the humans that were aboard the plane that
Right.
was blown up, she's like,
They
"Oh,
lived.
you're still alive. Can't those Van Helsings do anything right?"
Right? Yes.
I know, and it's funny, but it's a little creepy at the end. Even though it's funny and not a lot happens, there's just a lot of trying to take out these zombie things.
Yeah.
At the end, when you find out that 2 of the zombies have escaped
Yeah.
and are getting reinforcements, and on the last page you see that in a very short time they found a whole lot of
Right.
reinforcements.
Well, they made it to town. They made it to that town.
So we don't know how that's going to go.
One of the things that's interesting, besides all the funny lines that are in this and whatnot, and the you know, like Tig saying, "Okay, now I can kill everybody, right? There's no vampires that I'll get in trouble if I kill or whatever." I mean, there's all these funny lines, but I think it's really interesting and maybe lost amongst the funniness and just sheer chaos. The fact is that our main character, Bennett, he was basically trying to play Cold War. He was trying to basically get enough powerful vampires in himself all in one place, and then you got the Van Helsings in another place to do the Russian-American, we're both so big, bad, and evil that if either one of us pulled the trigger, we'd annihilate each other. You know, some sort of a, you know, to try and make that happen. That's crazy. But I mean, really interesting at the same time too, to try and not peace per se, but just that it's not worth it for either side because both sides are going to wipe each other out. You know, and you know, him basically saying, "Well, damn me for trying to, you know, I screwed myself again basically here by trying to pull this stunt."
And he does say that at the beginning, but unfortunately he also says it really humorously. So.
Now, in this book, did it flirt with the Stormwatch showing up?
I don't
Right
remember.
at the end of it, I think so. Which makes perfect sense because, of course, this is all happening, right? Okay, so there's this huge spot in Utah that's got, you know, hundreds of vampires all in it. Now these bombers have flied down, dropped napalm bombs on the place, and now there's zombies all over the place. Where the hell are the superheroes at?
You have a very good point.
I mean, you know, okay, the Justice League is busy getting their butts beat, but regardless of what's going on in Stormwatch with the Neanderthal stuff and the de-evolution and whatnot, somebody should be getting set down to deal with this craziness. So, it'll be interesting. Love the artwork. Continue to love the artwork. I love the panels where things are shifting and crossed and changing and whatnot. I'm glad to see that more of you YouTube people are starting to pick this book up and picking it up in singles because I know the sales on it are fabulous. I'm hoping the trades sell really well. So it'll be one of those books that maybe they'll hang on to because the trades sell well enough if the singles aren't selling well enough. I really got a kick out of this book. I don't have a whole lot more to say about it other than what we've already talked about. I would give it probably 3.5. There wasn't enough story there for me to really say, "Ooh, wow, this is, you know." She's giving scrunchy faces
Yeah,
as she's
I'm
thinking about what
trying
she
to
wants.
decide. It's like, oh, I don't know. 3.5
It's okay. You can give it a
seems too low
2.
to
You can
me.
give it a 2 if you want to.
I don't want to give it a 2. But a 4 seems, oh, I guess I'll stick with you.
No, be your own person.
I am my own person. Next.
Okay, so next we're going to talk about Justice League number 11. Woohoo! Exciting book. That's my sarcastic woohoo.
Oh, good, because I was wondering what had happened to you.
Yeah.
We haven't discussed any of these comics really at all,
Nope.
and I was not terribly impressed with this issue of Justice League. They all seemed really cardboardy to me in this issue. It's like Wonder Woman wants to smash things and behead people. Batman's like, oh, look, all the information that we need is right here. Now I know everything about this man because his journals are here because I am the great detective. And, you know, Aquaman stands around, you know, pointing his trident at people. And
I forgot he was
has
even in the...
a whole lot else to do.
I forgot he was even in the book.
You know, and Green Lantern's less of an ass than usual, but he's
Right.
still the I'll take care of this kind of guy that he's been the whole time, where he just comes out and
Yeah, there's only a few things in the book that I actually enjoyed. Otherwise, to me, it still feels like Jeff Johns is phoning this book in. He's just phoning it in. This is just a mediocre script, mediocre character development, mediocre everything. As far as I'm concerned,
I liked
it just
what
feels.
the Flash did in it, where he just grabbed them both and took them there.
Yeah.
That was good. I liked that.
I thought it was great when you know, big badass Green Lantern has Wonder Woman in the bubble, and she's like, "Yeah, let me go." And he's like, "Yeah, it ain't gonna happen," you know, and she just
Shatters.
she shows just how tough she is. You know, okay, you got your will, but I'm a bigger badass than that. And Wonder Woman they once again show Wonder Woman. She punches Superman, and Superman's like, "Dang, that hurt," and I'm gonna feel it. You know, and if we're assuming that Superman is still as almighty and powerful as Superman has always been, this helps demonstrate just how big of a badass Wonder Woman is. Of course, this Wonder Woman and the Wonder Woman that's in her own title are so completely different from each other. I mean, I understand it's different writers, but there should be some semblance of the same character there. There's not. I do like the fact that Hal Jordan is less of an ass in this one than what he normally is. I mean, he finally says, "Look, I'm just trying to help like everybody else." He just has a really poor way of saying it. The other thing in the book that really was kind of interesting is Cyborg's visions.
Yes, I want to talk about that.
Am I dead? Am I alive? Am I not alive? That's the only thing in this book that was actually maybe go, oh, that's kind of cool. There's some potential character-ishness to the book.
I want to talk about the whole Hall of Souls thing, or whatever that is, too, because I'm wondering if that's not more of a projection of fear, like earlier when he
it is.
Because
that's my assumption.
Because I don't know that what's his name is dead, and he's not dead in the other book that he's in, and
right,
Dark.
Right.
But the fact that Cyborg sees himself, his old self, is definitely a reflection on his own feelings and worries that he is more machine than man. And what Batman says about being able to see it if you're on the border, yes, it's possible that he physically, his body physically would, you know, obviously we know it wouldn't have survived without what his father did.
Sure, without cybernetics.
2/4 him. So obviously, yes, he is always going to be, his physical body is always going to be between life and death. And I think that's really interesting because it's never anything I thought about.
Yeah.
But do I think Cyborg has lost his soul? No. No, I don't. I think he's a real full person, but he needs to come to that realization. And that was, to me, the only really interesting thing in that book.
Right.
Is what they saw, what everyone saw there leads me to believe that it has more to do with what they think they're going to see.
Right.
And what they're projecting versus people really being, the dead really being there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was the only part about that I wanted to talk about that I had anything good to say about. Besides, you know, it's also the Let's Burn Green Lantern issue.
Sure. Well, you know, for me, I'll probably keep getting this book because it's another one of those things. It hasn't reached Green Arrow levels of bad.
Let's not even talk about Green Arrow.
Okay. But it's another one of those comics that generally I always collect. You know, it's become one of those things that I always get. And it hasn't reached, it's way in a rut of mediocrity, but it's not bad. It's not bad. There's nothing to point about and go, oh, this is bad. It's just, it's so mediocre. Is my issue with it, and there are things I think they should do to change it up. Besides, get new creators on it. Somebody who seems excited about writing it, because to me this doesn't feel like there's any excitement in this. But I would like to see them shrink part of the team. The whole team doesn't have to be in the book every single time something's going on. Start moving some of those other people in potentially into the book. Give us some actual story on these people, because really they're not. I mean, all these characters have their, except for Cyborg, right? Yeah, except for Cyborg. Everybody else in the entire book has their own platform to tell their own stories.
So Aquaman has his own title.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't get it. It's Aquaman.
I know.
Anyway, so yeah, I'm still getting the book. When I was like, backup story, the Shazam thing. I'm actually kind of liking that now. That's getting to me more interesting, more exciting. I like Black Adam, so having Black Adam back, and you know, nuking the one guy. That's cool and whatnot. I'm actually looking forward to issue 0, because that issue is Captain Marvel. Not Shazam. So I'm looking forward to that. What do you think of the backup story?
I, unlike you, have pretty much liked it since the beginning. It sucked that Billy was like a little cretin. But I don't know, I liked it because I'm a total sentimental freak job, and I like it's such a nice family. But the parents are saying that they are not getting what they thought they were getting with little Billy. But they should know, and they do know, that they didn't get what they thought they were getting with any of those kids. They all have some,
right.
Well,
they didn't
thing
seem
that they do, but
they're
not mad.
Right.
They're
just
saying,
they know they need to put more work in with the kid.
Then this is not the happy smile little baby boy that we thought we were.
Jeff
getting.
Johns is writing a decent story. He's thinking about how does this all work together, and who are these people as people, and how does that all work? Whereas in the Justice League, it's every couple issues somebody punches somebody else or wrestles somebody else, and there's this unimportant villain stomping around, and
and no one cares.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Also on the backstory, I actually can't stand Black Adam, but of course he has to be there. So,
and why don't you like Black Adam?
I don't know. I guess I got kind of oversaturated with Black Adam during his big, huge last run during the
52, the comic, the 52.
That's enough Black Adam, But of course he has to be there, and I do like the way that he is being portrayed. I love the fact that you speak my language. You don't. Okay, now you're dead.
Zot.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty creepy.
He's powerful. He's a god, and it'll be interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And now, suddenly Billy's on the subway to is that the Cave of Truth? What's that place called?
Rock of Eternity.
Yeah, that place. So that should be interesting too. It's like really a sudden drop him in there. I thought he was going to learn some more lessons about humanity.
No, it took way too long to get to this point. It took way too long to get to this point.
It has been 11 issues.
It wasn't in the beginning. There wasn't a backup. I can't remember, but it was way too long. If it would have all been put in one comic book, it wouldn't have been too long, because you'd have all this, and then it built up, and then the comic would end somewhere in this more interesting, exciting stuff is where where the story would have ended in. Right. But having it be just backup and only being 4 pages, 6 pages, whatever it was, it freaking drug on way too long. Anyway, that's that, and this is this, and what will we give Justice League?
2.5.
Yep. And most of that 2.5 goes to the Shazam story.
And Cyborg.
Yeah, they're kind of trying there, but
2 for Shazam and 0.5 for the Cyborg page, and that's it.
And Wonder Woman smacking up.
Yeah, and some of the
and Wonder Woman smacking Green Lantern again.
Yeah, I'm not getting any pleasure from this, but you've heard that before line, which I'm sure everybody has gone over 1,000,000 times by now.
Yeah. Okay, so next we're going to talk about Justice League Dark number 11. Well, Faust.
Yeah.
Dr. Mist.
Dr. Mist, the betrayer.
You know what? I've just been reading this and going, well, this is fun. This is just kind of fun, and not really be thinking about, ooh, what could be happening and whatnot. And actually, I was kind of caught surprised that.
Me too.
I was like, what? Oh, okay. That's the one of the other team members. They've been, of course, they've been, to some degree, the writer's been fooling us by, of course, we're billing Constantine as being the bad guy, kind of the charlatan, he's really only out for himself, which he probably to some degree still is. But at the same time, because they're doing that, you don't think about the other people being the person that's going to stab you in the back. But is Dr. Mist really the bad guy, or is he just a double agent?
I guess we'll wait and see.
But that's a long-term gameplay for them to go rushing to save him. I mean, that's why they got involved in this whole thing in the first place, was to stop Faust and to save Dr. Mist at the beginning of this story arc. Now.
Was it?
Yeah, well, yeah. Now,
a while ago.
Right. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't have tons to say about it, but I'm still, really enjoying it. I like the new version of Faust.
Oh yeah,
he's cool.
And I like all the characters. I'm gonna say 2 nitpicky things. One is that Constantine's been spread a little thin recently, because he's shown up in iVampire. He's shown up briefly in.
Sure.
He showed up in Swamp Thing. Didn't he show up? Has he showed up in Swamp Thing yet? No, just in Animal Man. He has his own title,
which has nothing to do with the 52 reality.
I know. Thank goodness.
So for me, that doesn't spread.
Okay, fine. And then he's in Justice League Dark. But I would like to think that even though they're nothing to do with it, I would like to think that the Hellblazer Constantine would not be this stupid about the books of magic. That he would know better. That he's older and wiser. Shut up.
Well, yes, he is, but he would still. I still think that he would, if he thought that they were out there floating around somewhere, and if he thought there was any chance that he could get a hold of them, not for power purposes, but because if he can get a hold of them, that means somebody else potentially can get a hold of them. So he's going to get a hold of them and hide him before he lets anybody else do it.
That's fine, but not.
But these are 2 different Constantines.
Okay,
you shouldn't compare the 2.
Stop talking about the non-Constantine.
The cool Constantine.
Yeah, the best Constantine ever. Okay, so also, no offense to Ms. Orchid, Black Orchid.
Black Orchid.
She looks like a cabbage. She looks like a purple cabbage. Her costume, the leaves. She just reminds me of, stop looking like that. She just reminds me of a cabbage. It's not her fault. She's a great character.
I found cabbage I like.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd have a salad at your house anytime.
That's right.
Okay, just got PG-13, kids.
Okay, dear.
So, yeah, we're married. You can't tell. Anyway, but I still like the story. I liked the little twisty bit, and I like these guys. I love Zatanna, so you can put Zatanna in anything, and I'm going to probably enjoy it. I like the characters very much. And Dr. Mist was one of my least favorite, just because I didn't know him.
Well, I don't know him, but I think it's kind of cool.
He was really cool.
The way he looks, I think
but,
it's pretty cool.
You know, I don't have an emotional investment in him, so it's not so bad that he's turned on them. If Orchid had turned on them, I would have been sad if.
No, I would have called bullshit on that if she
works for.
Well, they both do,
yeah.
But she definitely comes across more as the soldier. She has her marching orders, and that's what we do.
And then she does it, exactly.
That's what we do.
And Dr. Mist had been kidnapped by Faust.
Yeah.
So you could also have some Stockholm syndrome thingy going on there too, if you wanted to.
Sure.
If he didn't have a very strong mind, which I'm sure he does, because and I'm just saying that's a possibility.
Right.
He had time to work on.
Oh yeah, him.
And he wouldn't
him
have
being a turncoat is
time
acceptable.
to turn anybody else, except for Constantine. But Constantine is already out for Constantine, which is the way he couldn't be anybody else.
Right.
And I also want to know who little Tommy, whatever his name is. I want to know who he gave his magic to.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I forgot. But yeah,
I'm looking forward to finding that out.
Wait a second. Yeah, I like how Jeff Lemire has decided to start using Madame Xanadu. She's not really on the team. She's not really affecting the team per se, but he's continuing on with the thread that was started when the first writer was on it about how, in fact, she's seeing this prophecy of sorts and whatnot, and she's trying to do her own thing to try and affect it in a different fashion.
She's trying to make everything turn out
right.
not.
Because I really haven't liked that character in this reincarnation
No.
of her. She's just nothing that like the old person, and I don't know, just yuck as a general. But
I wanted
I like
to
this.
like her.
Yeah.
But I agree.
Yeah.
But that part, I was like, oh, well,
Yeah, I can't. I get
wonder where that
somebody.
went.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that part.
Yeah.
And in general, I just like this comic.
Yeah.
I think it's.
Oh,
fun.
it's within
And-
my it's within my wheelhouse anyway, just because I like the magic of the DC universe and the magic characters and whatnot. And so anything that pulls a bunch of them together to do something is pretty cool.
Yeah. And I'm fond of the characters too.
Yeah. Yeah. So what would we give this issue?
I would give it a 4 for the backstab. Otherwise, I would have given it a 3.5.
Yeah, I think so too. There are some little things, holes, comic book things that I could nitpick. I'm not going to. But yeah, definitely. Okay, and last, we are going to talk about National Comics Eternity #1. This is DC is putting out a bunch of, and I don't know why they're doing this and why they're not just putting it in the DC Comic Presents. Other than if they're just going to use DC Comic Presents, they can't introduce more of their long line of characters that they have that aren't back in the DC universe yet. This may be another way for them to induct it. They're taking certain characters, and I haven't taken the time to research all the people that are being released to see if they all are. If they were all characters that were owned by some other company at some point and now they're turning them out and that's why they're calling it National Comics or not, I need to look that up because coming up is going to be Rose and Thorn. There's Looker from The Outsiders. Is going to be in it. Is going to be in these things. They're just one shot, one comic. So kind of interested. I should look that up. I mean, because I question it, so I should look
at
at
that until you pointed it out.
the National Comics
Yeah.
banner across there.
I just
Yeah.
looked at the cover.
Anyway, so this one's entitled Eternity, and it is the basically kind of retelling of Kid Eternity. First thing I'm going to say about this that I think I find most curious of all of the DC 52 relaunch and everything, everybody's been de-aged. Everybody's gone from what feels like mid-30s or whatever. They've all been pulled back into their 20s. Everybody's so much younger and whatnot. And Kid Eternity is in his 20s. He's moved from being late teens, 19-ish, 20-ish to he's what, 20, what'd they say, 27?
I don't remember.
Something like that in this thing. That's first thing I thought was really fascinating and whatnot. In this, they exhibit his power a little differently than the old Kid Eternity. The old Kid Eternity could tap into anybody.
Living or dead?
No, dead. But anybody. He didn't have to have. In this, it shows him he touches the person, and his power seems to work by him touching the person, and then he goes down to limbo land and pulls the soul, the ghost, back up, and he can have a conversation for X amount of time. Where the X amount of time was always there, but my understanding was, from anything I've read of him, he could sit down and have a conversation with Caesar. He doesn't have to go find Caesar's bones. He could just
pull him out. And he doesn't have to be someone who's newly dead.
Right.
Or you get the feeling that in this do you get the feeling that it's somebody that's newly dead, or because they haven't moved on?
I don't know. I don't know if it's their move.
Could he pick his dad up and try talking to him?
I don't know. Obviously, he hasn't tried. Those are all interesting.
He's looked for his dad, but he's obviously moved on to where he was supposed to go. Does that mean that once they've moved on,
maybe
he can't talk to them
his
anymore?
corpse is just rotted away enough that I don't know. Those are interesting questions. I mean, that's definitely interesting. Cully Hammer does the artwork on this. The dude needs to have more work. They need to put him on, in my opinion, they need to put him on a regular title somewhere because I really like the artwork in this. It worked. He does a great job of storytelling and whatnot. He's no longer doing, helping do costume revamps for the New 52 along with Jim Lee. Put him on something besides just these one-shot books, or put him on a lot of one-shot books or something. Why are you giving me that face?
Are you telling me that this was a one-shot?
Yeah, this isn't an ongoing.
Oh no! I loved it. I saw number 1. I didn't realize it was number 1 and only.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That blows. I thought that was so much fun. I wanted to know what happened next. I'm sad now.
I'm sorry. To the best of my knowledge, it's a one shot. They're all one shots. They're all just one shot
You
stories.
said they were putting out a bunch of one shots, but I
Yeah.
was kind of thinking that maybe was in addition to this. I had a little flash thinking that meant this was too, and I'm sad.
No. Yeah.
I really liked it. I would actually like to see that as a monthly title.
Oh, yeah.
And I would read it. And
Oh yeah.
I think
It'd be an interesting detective kind of story.
First issue, and I'm really sorry to hear that it's also the only issue right now.
Yeah. Very well written by Jeff Lemire. Matter of fact, it didn't even necessarily feel like Jeff Lemire, and it's starting to feel like when I read some of Jeff Lemire's stuff, I can kind of tell he's got a certain way of telling the story. I don't know if this one felt that way quite so much. Like I said, the art in it was great. They need to put Cully Hammer on something else.
For sure.
On a ongoing title. I mean, I know the guy.
Ongoing title.
I mean, yeah, that ongoing title. Yeah. I mean, I've met and talked to the guy. I have some of his art and whatnot. I don't know what kind of, I know some artists don't do lots of ongoing stuff because they have problems keeping up with the pace of whatever. I don't think he's one of those people that way. I mean, he's done lots of stuff with lots of work with lots of different people and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, we need to get him on something. I would, like I said, I would definitely,
I'm sad. There's so much more to find out.
It would be, this is a great first issue, isn't it?
Yes, it definitely had the hook.
Yeah, I mean, it was
aforementioned hooks. It had multiple.
Yeah, it definitely
hooks.
was.
I mean, that sucks. Now we don't know what happened to the girl at the end. His crush is the.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I really thought we were going to go forward with that. That makes me cranky. I need to learn to read the front. Oh, stop it! I need to learn to read the front of the comics better because it.
What does it say?
It doesn't say.
No, it just says National Comics. It says Eternity Across Alpha, and it says, oh, you're right, one shot. One shot.
Someone only just read number 1. She needs to have her bifocals adjusted or something. Yeah. He's married to a much older woman. 3 months. Yeah.
She's older. Anyway, so you got anything else to say about the book, about the story and whatnot?
I really liked it.
Yeah, he works in a morgue. You see flashbacks of how he, not how he got his power, but just what happened and when he lived through a traumatic experience and his dad dies saving him. His dad was a detective. He works in the morgue for the police department, and he has this ability to basically he touches victims and he can draw them. He goes down into purgatory, limbo, whatever, pulls them while they're standing in line waiting to go somewhere, pulls them out, and then helps them process through how they were killed to try and catch the killer. And there's a twist to that whole story, which we're not gonna spoil because some of you people out there who haven't picked this thing up really should go hunt it down and pick it up. It's one comic. It's not gonna set you back a whole lot, and you'll love it. And also we get this other character that's in limbo that says Mr. Keeper. He goes by and it's like, that's mine. That guy's mine.
Remember how he smiles at him on the subway and he thinks he's seen him before.
Right.
So I flicked back a couple of pages to when he's having his own dream about his time in that limbo.
Right.
And I flipped back because I'm like, that's where he was. And I saw him there.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize it was a one shot. I didn't realize, I was wondering, well, why are we finding out so much about Mr. Keeper in the first issue?
Right.
Silly me.
So it leaves a lot of really cool stuff to have a story. I mean, because this Mr. Keeper guy shows up after he's played around with this spirit and said, you can't do that, there's rules. And Eternity's like, well, what are the rules?
It's all very fun.
Oh, no. You have to, that's one of the rules. You have to learn the rules.
One of the rules is that you have to learn the rules, just like,
Yeah.
You don't talk about
Fight Club, yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of really cool stuff that...
I know, man. Make another one.
What would you rate this book?
5.
I give it a 5 also. This last comic we
really
read.
To have a
It's the last comic.
That's a 5.
It's the last comic we read of this week because I read them in alphabetical order to do the reviews and whatnot, and it definitely was the best book of the week as far as the superhero type books go.
I agree. I really enjoyed it, obviously.
Yep. Okay, well, that's it for me and the Disembodied Voice. Let's see. there will not probably be a comic review next weekend because I won't have my comics yet. August has 5 weeks in it, and so they wait till week 3 to send me my first half of the month of comics. So I'll spread out my No Capes and some other stuff. I got some back issues to read and that kind of thing. So we'll be doing some of that kind of stuff. Anyway, more than likely next time Ethan will be back unless the disembodied voice tells him he doesn't get to do it and she's doing it instead.
I'm clearing out the refrigerator as we speak.
There you go.
I had fun.
Okay. Thanks for doing this with me.
Thanks for letting me.
Okay. Talk to y'all later.
Bye.